According to Ukrainian military spokesman, the Ukrainian military has now engaged with a Russian armored column. Apparently, several dozen Russian armored vehicles moved into eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainian military responded. We don't have any proof yet. We are taking their word to the extent that information from the U.S. military or surveillance has not been released. But according to the Ukrainian military spokesman, border guards were battling several dozen armored vehicles. They crossed the border and headed in the direction of the government-held city of Mariupol. The Ukrainian military spokesman that I alluded to says that this morning there was an attempt by the Russian military in the guise of Donbas fighters to open a new area of military confrontation in the southern Donetsk region. So they are saying that now it is not just Russian artillery that is firing across the border. It's not just Russian ground-to-air missile launchers taking down planes. They've actually moved in Russian armored vehicles, and they have now fought Ukrainian forces on Ukrainian soil. You're here seeing some footage of. It's hard to tell at this point if they're Ukrainian forces or rebel forces.
You had a BTR 80 that looked like it was parked there that looked like it was flying the Russian flag.
Guy looks as scared as I would be in that situation. Like he threw it kind of like a girl, and then he ran back. Like, you know, I mean, I'm not.
I mean, if that's all they have, come on.
What's amazing, Wes, is that this, you know, with all the advances that we've made, that could have been a French town in August of 1944. I mean, that fighting looked exactly like what we saw.
Well, that's what fighting is.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, I know, but okay, so but I mean, like, you know, if you don't pay a lot of attention, we're led to no, it's all precision guided missiles.
It looks like a video game.
No, there's no precision.
Let me tell you, it doesn't look as precise on the ground, even when we're doing precision strikes.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, but it turns out that 70 years later, it's combat, and it's just as horrible as it was then.
Yeah.
Now, we do have coming up tomorrow, the presidents of both countries, Putin and Poroshenko, are going to be meeting, and they're going to be talking about the situation there. It seems unlikely at this point that much is going to change, especially if Russia, if you believe what the Ukrainian spokesman is saying, if they're moving in forces the day before this meeting, it seems like they're trying to change the situation on the ground.
Well, they are. They have a Ukrainian unit encircled around Mariupol.
Oh, I had not actually heard about that.
So now the Ukrainian unit has to, break out of there. But also, he doesn't need to launch a full-scale invasion. He just needs to keep it boiling. That's the goal. It's not to have a full-scale war with Ukraine. It's to keep it just painful enough for them so you wear their government down, you wear the population down, and you've always got your hand in there on the territory.
Yeah, and at the same time, using that chaos that you have helped to create through funding, through training, through arming these rebels, on the Ukrainian side, they then move in these convoys of aid vehicles. So they moved in the 262 trucks just a few days ago. That they've already said that they're going to do another one of those. And if they can, they're attempting to distance themselves from the fighting, saying that they're not closely allied with the rebels, which seems ridiculous. But they're keeping up that line and sending in these aid convoys. It seems like they're trying to lay the groundwork for, look, they can't keep control of their territory. We're doing what we can to help these ethnically Russian people living in eastern Ukraine. Maybe we'll just annex it after 6 months or after a year of the fighting continuing.
I think it'll play out more like it played out in Moldova, where it'll be like a Transnistria Republic, which they've had, I think, since the early 90s. And as long as they're on the ground, that's its own separate thing. They could take it at any time, but by taking it, then they'd receive all kinds of international criticism, but facts on the ground are they'll control it.
So what is their goal then in the next year or two?
It's to split apart the Ukrainian state, make it weak, have the people turn against it. And nobody there wants constant war. I'm sure a lot of Ukrainians are really surprised that all this went down in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I certainly would be in their case too.